Why climate change is not a hoax. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I want to address a subject that is both critically important and often misunderstood, climate change, and specifically why it is not a hoax. In a time when misinformation and skepticism can obscure the truth, it is essential to understand that the evidence supporting climate change is both robust and overwhelmingly clear. Let's begin with the basics. Climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns. While natural variations have occurred throughout Earth's history, the current trend of rapid warming is largely driven by human activity. Since the Industrial Revolution, our reliance on fossil fuels, coal, oil, and natural gas has dramatically increased the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. These gases trap heat, leading to a warming of our planet. You might ask, how do we know this? The answer lies in the convergence of evidence from numerous scientific disciplines. Temperature records from around the world spanning well over a century consistently show a rising trend. Satellite data, weather balloons, and ground-based measurements all corroborate this warming. Independent research from NASA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, and other reputable institutions have confirmed that the global average temperature has risen by approximately 1.1 degrees Celsius, 2 degrees Fahrenheit since the late 19th century. A seemingly small change, but one with monumental consequences. Consider the melting of the polar ice caps. Satellite imagery clearly shows that ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctica are losing mass at an alarming rate. Glaciers worldwide are retreating. The sea levels are rising. This isn't just a distant problem for polar bears and coastal cities. Rising seas threaten to displace millions of people and disrupt ecosystems across the globe. Additionally, the warming oceans are leading to more frequent and severe weather events, including hurricanes, floods, and droughts. The evidence is both local and global, linking changes in our environment directly to the warming of our planet. Another powerful line of evidence comes from the study of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. Ice core samples, which capture atmospheric conditions from hundreds of thousands of years ago, show that the concentration of CO2 was significantly lower before the advent of industrialization. Today's measurements indicate levels of CO2 that are unprecedented in at least 800,000 years. This dramatic increase corresponds closely with industrial growth and fossil fuel consumption, leaving little doubt that human activity is the primary driver of current climate change. Some skeptics argue that climate change is a natural phenomenon, part of Earth's long history of fluctuating climate. While it is true that Earth has experienced cycles of warming and cooling, the rapid pace of current change is out of sync with these natural cycles. Geological records show that past climate shifts occurred over thousands or even millions of years. In contrast, the temperature increase we are witnessing now has happened over a few centuries. A blink of an eye in Earth's history, the speed of this change underscores the influence of human actions and not natural variability. Critics also point to the complexity of climate systems as a result to doubt the science. Indeed, our planet is a complex and interconnected system, but that complexity does not equate to uncertainty about the fundamental process of the greenhouse effect. The physics behind it are well understood. Greenhouse gases such as CO2, methane, and nitrous oxide absorb infrared radiation from the Earth's surface, preventing heat from escaping into space. This mechanism has been known since the 19th century and has been confirmed through laboratory experiments and extensive field research. The consensus among climate scientists is another compelling reason why climate change cannot be dismissed as a hoax. Over 97% of actively publishing climate scientists agree that climate change is real and primarily driven by human activities. This consensus is not based on conjecture or ideology. It is rooted in decades of research, data analysis, and peer-reviewed studies. and experts from diverse fields such as meteorology, oceanography, geology, and environmental science all converge on the same conclusion, sends a clear message: the science is sound. It's also important to recognize that climate change is not an issue that exists in isolation. It has profound implications for our economy, national security, and public health. Extreme weather events, from devastating hurricanes to prolonged droughts, cost billions of dollars in damage and loss of life. These events disrupt agriculture, lead to food shortages, and even spark geopolitical instability. The health effects are equally concerning, with rising temperatures contributing to the spread of infectious diseases and exacerbating conditions like asthma and heat stroke. Moreover, the impacts of climate change are not felt equally. Vulnerable communities, particularly those in low-income regions and developing countries, bear the brunt of the effects. These communities often lack the resources to adapt to changing conditions, making them disproportionately affected by phenomena such as food scarcity, water shortages, and displacement. Addressing climate change, therefore, is not only an environmental imperative, it is a matter of social and economic justice. I understand that some may feel overwhelmed or even skeptical about the potential for meaningful change. It's true that reversing and mitigating the effects of climate change is a formidable challenge. However, the solutions are within our grasp. Renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and hydroelectric power are becoming more efficient and cost-effective by the day. Advances in technology are making it possible to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels while still powering our modern lifestyles. Additionally, policies that promote energy efficiency, reforestation, and sustainable agriculture can help curb greenhouse gas emissions. International cooperation is key. The challenges posed by climate change are global in scale and require a concerted response from nations around the world. Agreements such as the Paris Accord represent critical steps toward a collective effort to limit global warming. While political disagreements and differing national priorities can complicate these efforts, the underlying scientific truth remains unchanged. Some may wonder why, despite all this evidence, there are still voices that deny or downplay the reality of climate change. Often this denial is not rooted in science, but in economic and political interests. Industries that profit from fossil fuels, for example, have sometimes sponsored misinformation campaigns to sow doubt about climate science. In addition, political ideologies that favor minimal government intervention can lead to resistance against regulations designed to protect the environment. It is important to critically assess the sources of information and to understand that science operates independently of political and economic interests. In conclusion, the overwhelming body of scientific evidence makes it clear: climate change is not a hoax. It is a real and pressing challenge that is largely driven by human activities. The data, from rising global temperatures and melting ice caps to increased levels of greenhouse gases, paints a consistent picture that cannot be ignored. As we face the future, it is incumbent upon us to listen to the experts, to rely on facts and data, and to take collective action to safeguard our planet for future generations. We are at a crossroads. The choices we make today will shape the world of tomorrow. Embracing renewable energy, advocating for effective policies, and supporting scientific research are not just options, they are necessities. By acknowledging the reality of climate change and acting upon it, we not only protect our environment, but also ensure a more equitable and sustainable future for all. Thank you for your attention, and I hope this discussion helps clarify why the science behind climate change is indisputable. Let us move forward with informed determination and a commitment to a healthier, more resilient planet.